checking out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnop.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark. Got the scoop, faster than a sprint, calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite.
Hey, how are you? Good morning. Coughing a lot this morning. Yay. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room, also on the professional door text line. Marva in Miami joins us coming up a little later. Of course, she's going to brag. She's been talking smack for so long about the Tech Carolina basketball game. Brian Seigla from the Boundary Corner podcast and Mike Burnop preview of the all game against BC tonight. Hope everybody's doing okay. Once again, we want to welcome to the program our newest sponsor, Sundown Electric. It started yesterday. Welcome, gentlemen. Brand new sponsors of the show this week. They have a wonderful reputation and a long list of satisfied customers. They are the best. There you go. Attention to detail, clear communication, honesty, and integrity. All the folks at Sundown Electric. Thank you so much. Welcome to the program. Glad to have you wherever you might be. Good morning, Steve. How are you? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You're at Disney. By the way, why, like yesterday, it was the day before and yesterday, when you went by the interstate signs or the driving signs, why did they all have winter weather coming? Is it just that they don't want to let go? Is that what that is? We have winter weather coming. Winter weather is on the way. What are you talking about? We're supposed to get some rain. From Dublin to Durham and the Blue Ridge Mount Scene to St. Augustine, the Duke Blue Devils are straight far. BDST is like, yeah, I think Duke's going to win the Natty. I think Duke is, they're just destroying people. Like, it's not even a chore for them anymore. Go on the road against one of your Tobacco Road rivals and just beat them by 30. Meh. They destroyed Virginia. It's like ever since they beat Michigan, ever since the John Shire media backlash over his falsified comments about Carolina fans, it feels like things have gotten out of control. So there you go. There you go. So anyway, welcome. Hope everybody's doing great. Riding Space Mountain. I never have been to Disney. I've never had any desire to go. I just know that everyone who's told me about it tells me it's extraordinarily expensive and trying to find, I think you have to pay even more to stay down there in their village or something. So, yeah, I never have been. Never cared to go, to be honest with you. And now that they're single-handedly ruining every IP that they purchased, then, yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's cool. That's cool. Have fun. Hopefully they won't pass out a bunch of, political pamphlets. You don't want that. Get a bunch of, this is how you virtue signal. We're Disney. I got a little chilly. I had to put on the top there. Yeah. I think they're going to win the Natty if they stay healthy, Morris. There you go. TLB in Roanoke yesterday. Saw Sundown Electric Trucks on the job. Yes, sir. None so far, Stephen. Let me know. How to dictate our political messages in everything we produce. Let's gender swap and race swap every Marvel character because that's fair. We're Disney. We're going to charge you a bundle, tell you what the price is going to be at the beginning, and then we're going to show you in the first bill that it's actually $60 more for whatever reason. That Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus bundle, $12.95. You get the first bill, $92.46. Yeah. Well, have fun with the grandkids, Steve. Sundown is located in Elliston. That's their home office. But they do work everywhere. But they do a lot of work in Roanoke. And they're the best. It's a couple of brothers. Jeff Smith and his brother have, again, much like Professional Door Incorporated, they have taken their father's business to new heights. It's really cool. Really, really cool. Congratulations to them. So yesterday afternoon and evening, we had the memorial service for Joey Rakuya in the Dedman Center. We had visitation from 4 to 6, and then service was from 6 to 7. The baseball team has canceled its 2 games. They were supposed to leave this morning, to go to West Virginia to play the Mountaineers, and they've canceled those 2 games, which makes sense. Guys last night saw many of them, and they're not ready to go play a baseball game, right now. That was very fresh. So I think it was a good move. I know they were excited about the opportunity of playing West Virginia, but some things are, again, bigger than baseball. Yeah, that's true. Disney operated like a sovereign nation. Remember when they tried to sue DeSantis and said they didn't have to pay taxes and they lost? And then they had to pay back taxes? Okay, not too far from the Boogie Woogie wrestling school. Cool. Good stuff. That's good to know, TLB. That's good to know. So, yeah, it was, I guess, maybe closure. I don't know if you ever really have closure. But Joe, his dad, it was packed. People were still coming in, after 5:30. People were still just piling in to Dedmon. So I don't know what time things actually finished up last night. But, again, our thoughts, prayers continue to go out to the family and to the team during this time. But it was tough. It was tough again last night for everybody involved. So, but we're working our way through it. Family Fencing, thanks to them, sponsor of our studio here in Reiner, 540-200-8294. FamilyFencingNRV.com. And now that the weather is getting warmer, I think we go into setting our clocks forward this weekend. Family Fencing wants to come and check out what you need, do their measurements, get their suggestions, free quotes, give them a call. Mark Hunley and McClellan Chiropractic, 155 Walters Drive, Northwest in Christiansburg. dmarkhunley.com. That's how you can reach him. Professional Door Incorporated, thanks to Travis Williams, sponsor of our text line, which is 540-391-0788. And Travis has been doing it for a very long time, 38 years, commercial and residential garage doors. Thanks to Bob Christ and the Ready Set Fund, ReadySetFund.com, your organization, team, whatever it might be, if you want to raise some money. BOBCRIST11 @gmail. Bob Christ. Check them out. They are very, very good. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of this program. And my exclusive banking partner for 35 years. Thanks to them. Ryan Pryor, the attorney, our BDST fan question of the week, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. You come up with a good question. I'll let the peeps come up with a good question. How's that? Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. And now you might want to start getting your air units checked out. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. Stacy Compton will be on the show on Monday. So we're looking forward to that. I want to thank Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. They've been around since 1997. Manufactured home parts for doors, plumbing, windows, and they install 381-8011. And the NRV Super Bowl, been part of the community for over 25 years. They brought back their late night weekends, 540-382-5525. And when you go in, you're not going to recognize the place. It's awesome. I do not think so, Morris. I think it's just the two boys that are running Sundown Electric right now. I think that's what I was told. Very nice, and we appreciate their support, and we will support them, to say the least. Yeah, we've got the shorts going now, yeah. And they got lots of views. So this studio is not on the inexpensive side. And one thing that it does offer that's new, and I guess it's one use good use for AI. At the end of every show, it generates clips from the show. So now each and every day, I'm going to upload those into our shorts on the site. And hopefully that'll help us get more subscribers and so forth. We'll see. But yeah. So it's a little short segment. So if people miss anything, they can go back and watch the clips. And then if they so desire, then go back and watch the entire show. So that's something that YouTube's been urging me to do. And there we go. I'm doing it now. So I hope you enjoy those. And we've had people ask for that in the past, and I've wanted to do it, but before they added this whole AI part to do it for you, I would have had to sit there for probably a couple, 3 hours and cut things up and do it, and you just don't have time. So that's pretty cool. So you'll see those every day. Hopefully you'll see those every day. But that's my plan going forward. What's up, Prometheus? Good morning. How are you? And everybody on the Professional Door text line, how are you? Good morning. Good to see you. Tech and BC tonight in that very convenient 9 o'clock time slot. Tech 13-point favorites, so they should be okay. It's on ESPNU tonight. You check that out. Yeah, blast from the past. Yeah, the social media making millions. Yeah. Like, for instance, our show Facebook page gets by far the most interactions daily. I post different things there throughout the day, and we get thousands of people who read stuff and go through it. I have over 3,500 people who follow the page, and yet you only get you get a smattering of change. It's such a ripoff. I don't know how people go about. I guess once you get up into the millions of followers and things of that nature, I guess that's how you can get. But that's not going to happen. And I don't know how many people. I don't know how people get that many followers. That's the other part of it too. But yeah, it would be nice. Would be nice. You can make millions and you can just focus on this part. That'd be great. I had an article here all queued up and ready to go. And it was about what Louisville. Did you see this? Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it now. I may have to. Let me see if I can find it. It was a good piece about some research Louisville had done. And I can't find it now because that's what I hate about some of the stuff. If you look something up, here we go. Found it just on Google. If y'all, and I know there are people who are better at it than I am, but especially on Instagram, I'll never understand Instagram. Like, you'll have something there that you like, and then you go back to it. It resets everything, and then what you had there disappears, and it never shows up again. But this was interesting. Louisville, and this isn't the usual, like, somebody complaining about things just to complain. But the president at Louisville, Jerry Bradley, and the athletic director with trustees, Look at that guy. Yeah, he just wanted to be part of the show. Came out of nowhere. Where the heck did you come from? I didn't even hear you. You see, he was being all stealthy. Right there is why he's so successful out there in the hunting game. I had no idea that he was even there. And all of a sudden you saw him. He just popped up. That's what happens to the critters out there. They don't see him. They don't hear him. And then boom. He attacks. And now he's completely out of sight. Anyway, Balboa Creed, ladies and gentlemen. Like I had no idea. Usually you can hear him coming down the stairs. Boom, boom, boom. So anyway, they got together, and the statement that they made was college athletics is running out of time. This is how Bigfoot stays still. Maybe so. Maybe when he's out there, they're like saying, hey, man, have you done this all of these generations? And Bigfoot tells him his secrets, because right there was a stealthy move. And now he's nowhere to be seen. Did we all just imagine it, or was it real? Much like Bigfoot. So it's called College Athletics is Running Out of Time. It's actually a paper they put out. And the message is simple. The math no longer works. And from Louisville, they spend about $167 million a year in athletics. It brings in about 155, and that's a recurring deficit. The reserves that they had once stood at $34 million are down to $3.4 million. To deal with $20.5 million in new revenue sharing to pay athletes, the school took out a $25 million line of credit before this season, and it's going to hopefully get them through next season. But then they say, then what? And again, they didn't write this letter because of Louisville's financial situation. What's happening at Louisville is more the norm than the exception. Ohio State reportedly lost $37.7 million the same year it won a national title. Penn State is carrying more than $500 million in athletics-related debt. And even though the arms race isn't slowing down, it's just gotten more expensive. The issue has now moved beyond athletic departments. And they're calling, like many schools, are calling for government interaction. All the conference commissioners are going to meet with the government coming up to talk about transfer rules and governance. So this is a federal conversation. I know people are going to roll their eyes, and I get it, because we talk about government interaction, anything, it's usually terrible. But there's nobody to man the ship. There's no captain bringing the ship through the storm. It's captainless. Jack Sparrow is not leading college athletics. He took a still pic, but only shows orange blur. Exactly. So maybe it wasn't Balboa. See, this is what happens. Now we go and tell people, yeah, about 20 minutes into the show, we're pretty sure we saw a Balboa Creed. And then you see the picture, and all it is the like, where did he go? So the Louisville letter argues that this isn't mismanagement by the schools, which they're right about. It says it's structural. And I wish they'd stop calling it NIL. It's so stupid. It's pay for play, but the rules differ from state to state. This week, Mississippi passed a bill to exempt pay for play earnings from state income tax, a recruiting advantage, but directly into the tax code, built directly into the tax code. Other SEC states already have no income tax at all. And that's the landscape Louisville is saying is unsustainable. 50 states, 30 plus pay for play laws, constant litigation, and no central authority with real enforcement power. So the three things they're asking for: first, congressional action to create uniform national pay for play rules and legal protections. They want a governing body that can actually govern within the NCAA. Yes, that would be good, wouldn't it? And then third, a hard and enforceable spending cap modeled after professional sports to slow what they describe as an escalating financial arms race. I got to be honest, this is a pretty good letter from Louisville. And there's one more idea tucked inside the letter, the article states, that would fundamentally reshape the system. And Louisville suggesting that Congress consider amending the 1961 Sports Broadcasting Act. It's a law that allows the NFL to bundle all of its television rights together and sell them as one national package. In college sports, well, they don't work that way. The SEC negotiates its own television deal. The Big Ten, Notre Dame, the ACC has its own deal. Everyone is selling separate inventory in the same marketplace. Louisville's argument is that this is fragmented and the system is widening the financial gap between the richest conferences and everybody else. Correct. Big Ten and SEC have broken off and have done their own thing for the last few years. If media rights could be negotiated more collectively, even partially, the overall revenue pie might grow and the financial floor might rise for schools outside of the Big Ten and the SEC. In simple terms, Louisville is asking to change the rules of the television lottery. The SEC and the Big Ten are not going to go for that because they're taking the advantage. Notre Dame doesn't want to hear about all this because they have their own deal. And the current model works great for them, right? They're getting theirs, so they don't care about everybody else. That's the problem. And I think that's the fundamental reason Louisville wrote this. I really do. The letter never talks about having to cut sports. It doesn't threaten reductions. It never named specific consequences, eliminated rosters. They say if all this were to happen, they could get their hands on it now, that they feel like this could help fix it across the board. When administrators begin talking about structural reform and sustainability, everybody in college athletics understands what usually follows if reform doesn't come, and that's, losing programs. So Louisville saying this isn't a declaration of an emergency, but it is a warning that one is coming. And I got to be honest, this sounds pretty good to me. And I'm glad someone has actually taken the time to actually address this and not address this in a way of woe is me, right? Which I thought was pretty cool. But I don't know. Your thoughts on that. And we'll see if it gets any play. I think March 6th is the meeting in Washington from the conference commissioners. And everyone's going to say, well, they have so many more important things to deal with. Okay, but isn't this considered, and I get so sick of that, they got more important things to deal with in college athletics. Well, let's think about that for a second. Everyone wants to say, why is college athletics, why would it deserve the attention of the government? Well, how many communities are driven by college football programs? New River Valley, everywhere in the SEC, right? Think about all the money people spend, all the money that's being put into it. The universities are usually the largest businesses in the areas. So this is something that you can't just shrug your shoulders and say, why is this so important? Come on, look at how much money not me, but how much money you spend on college athletics. Donations, whether you're trying to help the cause, whether you're buying tickets, merch, whatever it might be, because you want another one of those black Virginia Tech uniforms to don during games. But so it is important. And you know what? Who the hell else is around to sit there and try to bring this thing into order? We've seen absolutely no one step up. No one. And that's what Louisville is saying with this letter. And yes, from the fact that they're in the ACC, they don't like what they see from the SEC and the Big Ten. They understand what's going on there. Oh, no question, Brian. Yeah, these moronic tax, whatever it might be that's coming through the Commonwealth, yeah, that's going to, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My closet is full of black and gray uniforms. Right, because you love it so much. You like to go out and you buy it and you just hang it, put it in there on a hanger so you can go in there and go, yeah, there's my collection of Tech Black. So I thought it was a very interesting read. I think it makes a lot of sense. Do I think many of the things that they suggest will be adopted? No. Do I have any faith whatsoever that anyone's going to make a responsible and good decision? No. How many times do you go to work? How many times do you go throughout your day and hear about a good decision that's made? Right? Yeah, that was great. Do you really think anybody running college athletics is going to go do something and we're going to go, wow, what a great decision? Huh. They had the greater good in their line of vision. They saw this for what it was and they reached out and they just grasped it. No. Where you have aggressiveness is when you know that you're going to get yours and everybody else won't, i.e. Greg Sankey, who is the biggest detriment of all to college athletics, in my opinion, and what the Big Ten is doing. My boss only remembers my bad decisions for every 20 good decisions. That's very true. Yeah. But Greg Sankey is very bad for college athletics. What the Big Ten and their new commissioner is very bad for the overall health of the whole thing. For what they are, for what they're representing, they're terrific. But these things are not going to happen unless somebody just takes action. If the government has to step in, the one thing about it, before everybody rolls their eyes, I think we all want some kind of sense to be made of this, right? This can't keep going on. You might have reserves in place now, but it's like in Louisville, theirs is 95% gone, trying to cover things. They had to take out a line of credit just to pay off the revenue share of $20.5 million. There's going to be a lot of schools that are going to have to do that. Because that's an extra $20.5 million that you have to come out and somehow, okay, here we go. And then of the $20.5 million that you have, Coach says, be careful what you ask for. I know, Coach. I know, but we got no direction. And we got nobody that's worried about anything but their own, hey, look what we've got. And that's what happens. This thing goes down the toilet. And that's what's, here comes a lecture. That's what's wrong with this country from terms of politics. Nobody looks at the greater good, either side you're on. Things that make sense, common sense, morality, whatever it might be. It's what's good for my side, what's good for my side, to hell with everything else. But now, here we are with the SEC and the Big Ten doing that right now. And everybody else, the ACC, the Big 12, the G5s, nobody has any hope without some kind of regulation. So there's nobody in college athletics that's going to step up and take the mantle is what I'm saying. And if it's not the government, then who will? There's going to be a lot of pushback from the ones who are getting theirs. Right? So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know the answers, but I thought the letter, at the very least, whether you agree with the government getting involved with it or not, at least the letter made some good points. And they took the time. That thing took a long time to structure. You had a lot of people involved. So kudos to Louisville for at least presenting this in a responsible way, not like we're looking at it like, oh, no wonder you guys want it. Look how you've been acting. No, they've been trying just to do things according to the new setup. And here they are looking and going, well, this isn't going to last. We've got another year of this money. Then it's like it's gone. So I'm very curious to see what happens. But again, everyone in college athletics, every one of them should have a finger pointed at them and not necessarily the index finger for just sitting back and doing absolutely nothing for all these decades. Because it's those folks that have gotten us to where we are, not the athletes, not the young people. It's all those folks that have gotten us where we are. Now, do I think in my heart of hearts that this will be regulated anytime soon? Nope. Nope, I do not. But I do know that it's needed, and I think we all know it's needed. I mean, the games only last for so long. You can forget about all the troubles for 2 hours if you're watching a basketball game, 3+ hours. Well, hang on. If you're watching an ACC football game, almost 4 hours because of all the commercials. And then after the game's over, you go, yeah, now we're right back to the same thing again. We're right back to it again. All the problems kind of reoccur over and over. And then, Louisville's smart. They're trying to get ahead of this because they know what's coming with the restructuring of the leagues and the next big TV deal. So the timing is not an accident. They're getting this out there right now, right? And let's say some new policy is adapted that's going to put everybody on a more even plane. Well, then that will go into the new negotiation. And I think that would benefit everybody. It would benefit us as fans, benefit the schools, the athletes. But there's got to be some way for this thing to get regulated soon, or we're done. We're all done. And where do you go next? Pro sports are all going into the tank. If college sports isn't regulated anytime soon, they're all going down the tubes. Because right now, if nothing like this happens, what you're going to have is you're going to have club sports. All these Olympic sports are going to go to club sport status. Now, Louisville made a point not to threaten that. But every AD that I've talked to around the Big South is saying that's exactly what's going to happen. You imagine what's your favorite Olympic tech sport? Baseball? Softball? Imagine that going to club sport status. It's probably true. Coach Elmo is saying, who put a man in the moon and this can't be fixed. The president, commissioners don't want it. Yeah, that's right. Exactly, Coach. Because they got they have their own selfish intentions here. And this is why nobody's making any progress on it. This is why the NCAA tournament's going to be ruined after this year. This is why baseball is going to lose an entire 2027 season. Because the players have always gotten theirs, and now they do not want, in any way, shape, or form, have a salary cap. How dare you? How dare you try to fix the sport? But again, who's allowed that to happen in baseball? Rob Manfred and the owners. The fish rots from the head every damn time. Dad, you were so right. It's not the pieces surrounding it. It's the people who are supposed to be in charge every time. Look at it in college athletics. Look at it in pro sports every time. Right? Every time. Text line's blowing up too. So hit us up. But I think that's what's going to happen. And then what happens to all those athletes that play those sports? If scholarships are taken away, to have to be put into the revenue share, the rev share for the other sport. And the rev share is only going to go to a couple of sports for the most part. So I don't know. Brian says, I'm friends with the head soccer coach at Tech, and I hate to think his job might be in jeopardy because of all this. He's not drawing his current salary as coach of a club team. Yeah. Yep. So that's kind of the grim part of it, but it's kind of the reality of it. Those are things you don't want to talk about, but you kind of have to. Marva's going to join us here momentarily. See if she's talking more smack about the big win for her Tar Heels. I mean, you know how hard Marva came at all you Tech fans last week. All right? Marva was just like, Tech fan, you got no hope. Smack, smack, smack talk. There she is. She's here to finish it off. Everybody duck.
That is not true. I never said Tech fan, you have no hope. What I said is that Carolina is undefeated at home this season. So I wanted them to know that it would be difficult, okay? That's all I said.
Okay. You took some extra pride in that one, didn't you? You were going through and everything you had maroon in the house, you were dyeing, making it pink, putting bleach all over it.
No. I mean, I thought about it, especially when that game was tied at halftime. I said, is this going to happen? I did allow myself to think that for a moment. But then second half, Tech was so hot in the first half. I mean, the shooting percentage, they were just all over the place, had a lot of energy. But, they could not sustain that for the whole game. And that's why they lost, or one of the reasons.
Were you even aware you were playing Tech because they wore those black and gray uniforms? Did you have to go?
I didn't know who those players were, actually.
Is that Wake Forest?
I didn't know. They've got to get rid of those, okay? I don't know what their winning percentage is with those.
Well, the winning percentage in terms of fashion sense is 0.
Yeah.
It's just a terrible look. Just horrible look.
It's not their colors.
They consciously went to Chapel Hill on national TV and said, yeah, we're going to wear the black and gray with that gaudy VT in the center. Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe they're thinking, dark colors mean we're serious or something. I don't know.
Well, they got a dark maroon. It looks really nice.
Yeah. Those are Tech colors. Wear your team colors.
They won't. They're not going to stop. And wait till you see the all-black football uniform. It's coming.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I think we talked about this before. They want people to buy these alternatives.
Nobody is. And nobody is.
Yeah. But they think if they keep putting them out there, somebody's going to see it and say, oh, I want that. And then they'll buy the real expensive jerseys and stuff. So maybe that's what they're after.
Kudos to your Heels. A lot of adverse. Is that three in a row now? Is that three in a row?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You lost the lottery pick. What's his status, by the way?
Well, before the Virginia Tech game, they said he was doing non-contact drills out on the floor. And everything I keep hearing is that he thinks he's going to play against Duke on Saturday. And I just don't understand it. I mean, I would love it if it were to be true, but it just kind of blows my mind because it's not something I ever expected. I know you didn't expect Caleb Wilson to ever play again in a Carolina uniform.
No, I figured he's already being advised. Look, you're done. You're going to go to the NBA, make more millions. Just chill. Right?
I thought we might see him in the tournament. That's what I was thinking. I said, well, maybe if we're lucky, maybe he'll be in the ACC tournament. But I keep hearing he wants to play against Duke, and I get wanting to play. I get that. I respect that about him. But the fact that they're saying he might actually play, it's just blowing my mind. Now, Carolina has one final home game tonight against Clemson, which is going to be a tough game. And then the end of the season, as always, against Duke, at Duke. And he says he wants to play. And if he plays, I will be amazed. I will be nervous for him. I will be feeling a lot of different emotions because, like you said, Carolina's won 3 in a row, and the players are really starting to gel. People who are formerly bench players and just very limited roles are getting more minutes in his absence, and they're becoming better, stronger, more reliable. All this is good, but I mean, we've seen what Duke has done since Carolina beat them, and it has just been mowing down people. Correct. I mean, I watched a little bit of that Duke NC State game last night thinking NC State would give them a game, and then, get busy with stuff at the house here, and I go back and I look and I see that they are blown out. So
you're not beating
Virginia.
You're not beating Duke again. You're not beating Duke again.
It's not impossible.
It's not going to happen.
It is not impossible. Rick, people said Carolina would never beat Duke at Coach K's last game. I remember people saying that. They'll never do that. This is Duke's year. They're gonna. It's like, okay. So
you're not going to. You're not going to now.
We will see, Rick. I will never concede that.
I know you can't because you're a Heels fan. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But they're kind of in a different world right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're clearly in a zone, and I think they can attribute all of that to losing at Carolina. That kind of fired them up.
Oh, there's no doubt. And then, when Shire made up the story about Carolina fans pelting his players.
Well, no, they were.
Or whatever it was.
Face.
Punch. That's right. They were just blatantly just ran back and hitting them.
But, I mean, to this day, though, we've never seen any video of that. But yeah.
No, and then he got it was just something he made up. He probably saw one incident where some guy was like running student, and he was like, and then, oh, look at that. Arrest him. We just got beat.
I mean, honestly, I don't know if he even saw something like that. He's creative. I guess I will say he's creative.
A blatant liar.
I would not say that. I just say he's comes up with things that other people
that are blatant falsehoods.
So. We shall see. And I am hopeful. But again, if he does play, if he plays and he's effective and Carolina comes out of there with a win, like legendary status, he immediately goes to that.
Correct. But that won't happen.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I was surprised when they said, he's been out there doing non-contact drills, before the last game. I was like, he's doing what? I mean, I was just shocked. So we'll see. I mean, I don't doubt he desires it. I don't doubt he wants to be out there, but I just don't know. It's one of those things where I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I don't think he should play.
Yeah,
I think
you don't want to risk re-injuring himself. So I don't know.
At the end of the day,
I just can't see how it could be healed enough.
You're already in the tournament. At the end of the day, you've already beaten them once. I mean, the Duke game doesn't matter. It's about him. If he can go, you can start thinking bigger good right now. And I don't think you're going to win the Natty, but you get him back, and there's talent there, obviously.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. We'll see how things go.
We'll see. We'll see. On a serious note, you kind of teased it when you went off last time, and I saw your post on Facebook, and it's very sad.
I wasn't prepared to talk about it on the air because I was
that's fine. That's fine.
I still can't believe that this happened. You know, you guys were kind of right there with us. You heard we had a kitten that we got back in November, and you heard her on the air because she was so loud once. She was so loud, and she just brought so much joy. You know, we had lost our 19-year-old kitten, and she actually, a 19-year-old cat, the kitten came on the same week. She came before. So we weren't getting her like as a replacement. It was a surprise. You know, we went to our vet and they said, oh, someone dropped off this kid and they haven't come back and it's been so long. We're just going to put her up for adoption. Would you like her? And you asked my daughter that, and the answer is always yes. I wasn't there. She was there with her dad. And I was like, okay. You know, I didn't know because we had an old cat. Is she going to get along with this kitten? But I think at that point in her life, she was just older and she was sick. She really didn't pay much attention to the new kitten at all. So then she passes away, and then the new kitten is there. She's just so playful. She's running around like she never walked, Rick. Everywhere she went, she was running as fast as she could go. And she learned kind of the rhythms of the household when people were leaving and coming, and she would run to the window and watch us go. And I don't know. It still blows my mind because I've just never had this happen before. I mean, I had cats before, but they were older when they passed. I never lost a kitten. And right now we don't know what's happening. Like the vet said she maybe had a congenital problem with her heart, her lungs that just didn't get caught beforehand because she was getting her shots and everything. And this night when she passed, kids have been playing with her a lot for like an hour before we left, running. She's running all over. She's acting like herself. We leave because my daughter had to go to dance class. I'm taking her to dance class. And on the way there, we were almost there. We were maybe like 2 or 3 minutes away. We're almost about to pull into the studio. My husband calls me and he's like, I hate to tell you this. I'm sorry I have to tell you. And I just thought, we joke around a lot. Like he might say, I hate to tell you this, but we ran out of paper towels. You know, we do stuff like that. So I was just like, oh goodness, what is this? And he's like, yeah, I'm so sorry, Gigi. She just started doing this, and then she didn't. We tried to rush to the vet. She didn't make it. And I was just practically hyperventilating. I had to pull over. I could not take my daughter to the studio because I was like, what he was saying just didn't make sense. And I had to get off the road. I pull over. I just pull. There's like some business. I pull in their parking lot. And I said, I'm sorry, tell me, what were you saying again? What? And he's like, yeah. She's like, she came out and instead of running, he's like, she was walking, which was weird for her because she just doesn't do that. She runs everywhere. She's walking and she went under the couch and he's like, she does that. She likes to play under there, hide under there, whatever. But she's like, she's making a weird noise. He's like, a really weird noise. So I pulled her out. And he's like, she got sick and she just wasn't, she's breathing really rapidly. We didn't know what was going on. So it's like, you know, my son was there. They got the carrier, put her in the carrier. We're going to take her to the vet. And they just couldn't even get her there in time. Like she passed in the car. And my son, I'm like, well, how's he doing? And like he just wailing in the car.
Sure.
You know, and my daughter, she's only hearing one side of this conversation, but she knows something's wrong. And I have to tell her. And she's like, obviously she couldn't go to dance class. We just took off, went back home. And just so sad. We don't know. It was just awful because she seemed healthy.
Congenital heart failure, is that what there is? What it
they think like. Something happened that she had a problem that we didn't know about. I mean, she was only 5 months old. We got her when she was 3. No, we got her when she was 2 months old. She was only 5 months old. And just so terrible. Sad. I mean, we just recently gave away all of her food. We have a good friend who fosters kittens. And she's like, I have 9 at the moment. And because we're not quite ready to do another adoption.
No, you can't jump right back into it.
No, we're going to take some time and then we will. we will again. Like we're a cat family. We will again. But it was just even right now talking about it's just so devastating because, you know, because of the cat I had, and I call her Ma, even though she was family, but I had her well before I got married or anything. She's 19 years old. And so I was thinking, you know, we'll have Gigi for a really long time. She's a baby. So yeah, it's just really, really sad. And for the kids too, because all the memories, like the games she used to like to play, like she loved to bat a ball or a toy back and forth. And people say cats don't do stuff like that, but she loved it.
No, they do.
I called it like playing soccer with her. We would just bat something back and forth and she loved that. And, you know, not seeing her in the window anymore or it's hard. And like one night my husband is like, I know this is crazy, but I thought I heard Gigi. I was like, okay. So he got up and he's like, went to my daughter's room because the sound was coming from my daughter's room where she used to sleep. And he said there was a big tomcat outside the window. And he said maybe he used to visit Gigi through the window. We didn't know about it because he was there and he was making so much noise that my husband heard all the way in our room to go check it out. He's like, I'm hearing a cat from this direction.
And it was the tomcat that was.
Yeah. So I think maybe he used to visit Gigi and we just didn't know. So.
Well, I'm so sorry. And I hate that for you and your husband. I hate that for your kids.
Yeah.
And one day you'll dive back into it. I get it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are a cat family. We will get, but I said, we need a break. We need a break.
No, I get it. You lose I lost my dog 6 years ago. I've not gotten another dog. I can't. I just don't.
You don't think you ever will?
It's going to, probably not. I might.
Okay.
So now I'm a kid. I'm a cat, Balboa shows up, and it's like, okay, this is cool. He's
because cats and dogs are a little bit different. People usually actively go out and get their dog, from either if they shelter or if you want to get breeder. But with a lot of times with the cats, like people talk about the cat distribution system, they just show up and you take them in. So I don't know, because even my son was like, we know the woman who has the fosters. Like, maybe we could ask her if we could have one of the fosters. I was like, no, not now. No.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Well,
at some point, though, I know we will jump back in.
Well, that sucks. That's so sad. Yeah. Especially, like you said, so young too.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what we think. Because at first we were like, did she get into something? And that made us all really scared. Like, did she? Because you know how kittens are. They're into everything.
Sure.
They tried to cat-proof, kitten-proof the house. And so, of course, that brings about guilt, And my daughter was like, one day I spilled something in my room and I thought I cleaned it up. What if she got into it? Like some cleaning fluid. And I was like, I don't think so. But of course, then you're wondering and you don't want her to feel bad. But they said, no, it doesn't sound like if she got into something, they said that actually looks different. They were telling us about what that'd be. So, they do think she just had something, that she's had her whole life and we just didn't know about it.
Did they offer to I don't know. Could they do an autopsy or something?
Well, we talked about that, but they said that was would be $2,000. And it's not that we don't care, but knowing that, it wouldn't bring her back. It's
you don't need to know that badly.
Yeah.
Well, very sorry. Very,
Thank
very sorry.
you. And I'm sorry to end the show at a bad. That's what I didn't want to talk about it last time because
we're
like,
a family. We want to hear about people's problems. That's what we do. And these people they'll keep their thoughts, and it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It really is. How are the little people doing now? Are they getting a little better? Are they doing okay?
They are, there's some moments like when we gave the food away that actually upset, my son. Yeah. He's like, and I said, well, really, let's give this, because we had a lot. The type of people we buy stuff in bulk. We had a lot of food, and I said, this is going to help her because she's trying to help these cats get them ready to be adopted, these little ones. And so he was a little bit upset about donating the food, but then I hoped I was able to talk him through, and he see that it was a good thing rather than throwing it away or just letting it sit there and go bad. Just give it to someone who can use it. And but we still have her toys around here. Her bed is still here. We haven't gotten rid of those things. And I don't know what we're going to do just yet, but.
Do you have a place around where you live? Do you have a burial place? Can you keep her there?
Well, we did pay for her to be cremated, and we're waiting. I think we go back and get the ashes this week.
Okay.
And I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do with them just yet.
Oh, that'll be cool.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. Well, my thoughts are with you guys. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That's terrible. We'll go Heels. We'll
Thank you. Tonight, please cheer for the Heels tonight against Clemson, because both Clemson and Carolina are at very close, and far in terms of standings, and both teams are going to be playing really hard tonight. But of course, I always hope Heels will pull it out. And also on Saturday, you got to pull for the Heels against Duke. You should be watching, and well, I know you're probably working, but.
Yes. Well, potentially. At the Big South tournament this
week.
That's
right.
Potentially. Yeah. If we win Friday night, yes, I'll be working all day.
Well, hopefully so. Hopefully you'll be working.
We're the late game Friday. We're the 9:00 game Friday night. So.
Okay. Well, I will see if I can check that out a little bit, just to think,
check it out.
Think of the Highlanders,
Think of the Highlanders. They were a North Carolina opponent, so there you
go. They were. Well, and they were early in the season, starting things off. So
first game for us on the road. Yeah, on the road, first road game. Yeah. All right. Well, my best to you and your fam. I hope the healing can continue, and we will talk next week. And good luck this week for your healing.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Be good. Thanks, Marva.
Okay. You too, Rick.
Right.
See you next time.
Take care. All right. That's sad. Very sad. I hate that. No explanation. So young, 5 months old. Terrible. Terrible. Just think of how we are with our animals. I mean, dogs and cats, whatever it might be, the relationship that we have with them. I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'd rather hang out with Boa than about 95% of the people that I interact with. Right? Maybe 98%. But yeah, terrible. Just terrible. We're thinking about you, Marva. We are thinking. Thanks to Sundown Electric. They have an excellent reputation and a long list of satisfied clients that attest to their superior craftsmanship. People saying they're seeing their trucks everywhere. Attention to detail. They always communicate the cost and what's going on. Honesty and integrity at Sundown Electric. Thank you so much for being the latest sponsor of this program. ReadySetFund.com. Thanks to Bob Christ, BOBCRIST 11. Again, if you have an organization, like say you're getting into spring sports and your softball team needs some money, whatever it might be, they can show you how, and it's very effective, man. Very effective. I should use them for my subscriptions is what I should try to do. Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors. Travis Williams up in Dublin, family owned and operated right across from Newberry Community College. 38 years in business. Nobody does commercial residential garage doors any better than Travis and Professional Door, sponsor of our text line. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of this program on YouTube, my exclusive banking partner for 35 years. The attorney Ryan Pry, sponsor of our BDST question of the week, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. Got to come up with a question. Thinking about a question, peeps. You come up with good ones. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Thanks to Charles Lee. They are the best. We are presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller. Stacy Thompson will be on the show on Monday. Talk more about the IHRA, the connection. NASCAR guy coming on the show Monday. McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hundley, right off of Pepper Story Road, 155 Walters Drive. Sponsor of our chat. Family Fencing, sponsor of these magnanimous studios here in Reiner. 540-200-8294. Email them at familyfencingnrv.com. Free quotes, by the way. Thanks to Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, the NRV Super Bowl, and Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel. Brian Seigla coming up in just a little bit, and Mike Burnop to give us a preview of BC tonight. And we'll see. Now, I think it's more like 98%. Who made the cut? You're there, Brandon. You made the cut. You're in, baby. The question, though, remains, did we actually see Creed or did we imagine it? The orange blurb that went by that I haven't seen since. I'm reaching out here soon. We lost Dr. Jeff Meldrum. And I say we because anybody who is a Bigfoot enthusiast who's just has loved the myth their whole life, like me, whether it's truth or myth, remains to be seen. But there is a pretty good YouTube channel called Cabin in the Woods. And I don't know whether he would come on or not. I mean, he's kind of taken over the mantle for Dr. Meldrum. And I'm going to reach out to him and see if we can get him on. He had an experience that he highlights, and he's got some footage of it, which is kind of interesting. That changed his channel was about travel and tourism. Like he created a channel where it was just his family going out, going places, and they were going to tell you about the hotel and the terrain and things to do in this area. And then he had that experience. He said he went into a state of shock for a while, and now his channel's dedicated to Bigfoot. So I'm going to reach out to him and see if he'd like to come on the show. And he may not. He may tell me to go jump in a lake. But I'll give him a shot and see. I'm going to see if he pops up here so I can tell you who he is. I don't know his name. He does a nice job, though. He's a good host. He's a good host. So we'll see if I can get him on. Did the tech women wear white uniforms with black lettering against UVA? I don't know. Did they? Let's see if I can get highlights. Let's see. Virginia Tech at UVA women's basketball. Should be able to get images here. Let me see, Prometheus. What was the date? That was that March 1st? Let me see here. Okay, I got it now. No, that is maroon. It is maroon. There you go. That's a shot of the game right there. So they did wear maroon. They did wear maroon. Hey, Rick, I got a response to a tree knock behind my house once. He's real, man. Okay, I'm not going to question you, Brian. Here we go, Brandon, BDST fan question of the week. How many wins realistically does James Franklin need to have year one for it to be considered success? All right, let's do that. Thanks, Brandon. So our attorney, Ryan Pry, BDST fan question of the week. Hit me up on the text line. You can hit me up. You can DM me. How many wins do you see Franklin needs to have a big, a successful year one? I want to see what they look like out of spring. I want to see how other teams look in the I don't know. It's too early for me to even make a number. But you feel like, don't you just feel like 7-8 wins should be there, one or the other, right? Maybe you're right. I mean, who knows? Nobody had Virginia and Duke playing in the ACC title game. Nobody had Wake Forest winning 9 games. They might exceed that. Who knows? Could happen. We'll ask that. I think we already have asked Brian Seigla that question. He's getting ready to come on from the boundary corner. But I think we talked about that already. Pretty sure we did. I don't know. I agree with that too. Less than 7 wins would be a disappointment. Yeah, if they're 6-6, you're going to be like, yeah, I think that's true, Prometheus. The bowl, I don't care about as much. It'll come with 7 wins, but the bowls are a joke. But yeah, you're right. 7 wins. So we'll say 7's the floor of acceptance. How about that? 7 will be the floor, and then the ceiling, who knows what it might be. I mean, who knows? Grunkmeyer may come in to this system and just be the guy and have this great year. This new offensive line might be the real deal. I mean, you don't know, and that's what spring's all about. You're trying to put the puzzle pieces together. So I agree with that. We'll say 7 is the floor. People on the text line, have you yourself had? Why are you into Bigfoot? Did you have an experience? No, I haven't. I haven't had an experience. But my dad, do I have it? Yeah, it's a book over here. I can't get to it because it's behind a bunch of stuff. But called the Bigfoot Casebook. My dad really loved the lore of it. Dad was an outdoorsman his whole life and never had an experience, but he always loved the mythology of it. Read a lot of books, not just on Bigfoot, but the history of mythical monsters and throughout the generations. And it kind of got me hooked. And then I saw a movie called The Mysterious Monsters in the theater, and it was awesome. Scared the living hell out of me. And it was about Bigfoot. And I'm going to forget the actor's name. Oh, my goodness gracious. It bugs me. He was the narrator. He was in Airplane as the pilot. It was very, very good. But this was the movie right here. The Mysterious Monsters. See right there? Can y'all see that? Yeah. It was really, really good. Really, really good. Peter Graves was the host. And you can find it on YouTube. It's free. You can watch it. And I watched that when I was a kid. And there's a scene where Bigfoot sticks his arm through the window, and it just scares you to death. It scares the living hell out of you. So, yeah. So that's it. Morris is saying, I want ACC championship spot in the playoffs. Otherwise, I'm out. I wish I have saved records from previous questions. The sponsor of our BDST fan question of the week, Ryan Price says, I think the very first question was, how many wins would Tech have in 25? Yeah, most people said 8 or 9. You're right. They did. I think we ended up with 8. I really do. Yeah, me too, Wayne. You develop that when you're younger. Peter Graves was great as the host. I remember he went into it just because he thought it was a job to narrate, and he thought it'd be an easy check. And then when he got into the research of it, he came out. I saw an interview with him. He came out a believer in it, which I think is pretty cool. There's Brian Seigler. We're a believer in Brian Seigler in the Boundary Corner podcast. Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Good morning, Rick. How are we feeling this morning?
We're doing all right. Are you a Bigfoot guy at all?
A Bigfoot guy? Like Sasquatch?
Yes.
I mean, I think there's probably some stuff out there that we don't know about, and it could, be a big furry guy with some, pretty extended, kickers there. So, who knows? There's a lot of areas of this country that we just, we haven't seen enough.
Correct.
Of, so.
Absolutely. You see some of the wooded shots from helicopter. You're like, wow, how does anybody ever get it? Nobody's ever been in there. We don't know.
Well, let's think about all the caves that we haven't seen either. So,
That's right.
There's caves that people haven't even discovered yet.
I'm not going to rule out the universe and nature. It could happen. It could happen. All right. So I think we've asked you this before. So we just came up with our BDST fan question of the week, and we had the floor of minimum number of wins for James Franklin at 7. Do you agree with that? You think 7 should be the floor?
I think 7 is a good floor. I also said I think we're going to get at least 7 next year out the gate. So
I think you did. I think you did.
I think 7 is a good starting point. I think you can be happy with 7 even if you want more. And I think that's probably a good barometer of what a floor should be like. A number that you're probably happy with, but you still leaves you wanting more.
Correct.
So,
yes.
So give me 7. Yeah, I like 7.
6 and 6 won't cut it. Peeps don't want 6 and 6. No, and that's not going to feel good either, is it?
We need to be above 500 before any sort of postseason activity commences. I think that's where I think a lot of us would start to feel like, okay, we haven't really seen this a lot in a while. Like, it's really going back to that 2019 season is the last time we really had an above 500 program. I think there was potential for that 2020 team, but I think COVID threw a wrinkle in what that final outcome would have looked like. But yeah, I mean, I think this team talent wise seems to be, on par for being able to get there with a 7 win, especially the way, despite a somewhat difficult schedule, I think the way those games lined up pretty well for us with, not having do big travels back to back and all those things. I think the schedule lines up fairly well for the Hokies, all things considered, with that long travel.
Well, and I'm just looking at the league too, Brian, and what we saw last year. Did anybody have Duke and Virginia playing the final day of ACC play in the championship game, right? I mean, I know the tiebreaker was screwed up and it should have been Miami, but I'm just saying nobody had Virginia and nobody thought Wake. Everybody had Wake at the bottom of the league, right?
Yeah.
They had a new coach. They lost all those players. They won 9 games. Tech could be that team, right?
Yeah.
Tech could be that team.
The ACC is so wide open in that second tier. I mean, you've got, Miami's going to be good. We know that. Clemson recruits fairly well, so they're going to have a decent team every year. So they got a puncher's chance in every game. And beyond that, it's really like a dice roll as far as what the next 2 teams are kind of going to be in that ACC championship conversation at the end of the year. This year it ended up being Duke and UVA. Why not us next year?
Yeah, why not? I think that's the question. Experienced head coach, you got staff coming in. Some of these guys he's had a relationship. Most of these guys he's had a relationship with. I mean, I don't know. It's just so strange now, the whole dynamic of college athletics. It's much harder to predict, I think, than ever before because nobody saw this meteoric rise of Indiana coming like it did, and it's just it's hard. It's hard to know exactly who's going to be good. And I mean, heck, Phil still came on this program and had Clemson going to the national championship. So there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
And I mean, it did not come close to happening.
No, it did not.
And as a result, we saw Dabo actually, beyond dip his toes into the transfer portal this year, he actually, stepped in there a little bit. He didn't do a cannonball in there, but he's starting to say, I guess I'm going to have to do this a little bit if I'm going to continue to be competitive with the highest teams in my conference and in the college football playoffs. So at some point, reality sets in, good or bad. You got to do what you got to do to be competitive.
I was talking. Did you see the letter that was released? What Louisville had written out, expressing what they feel like needs to happen with Congress and what's going on. Not that they're saying woe is me and all this. They're just kind of looking at the greater good. So you have an individual school in the ACC trying to say, we're looking around and we're talking to our brethren. This thing's going to blow up. What can we do to save it? I thought it was very interesting, some of the things they came up with. Do you think, and I know, we all roll side eye when you get Congress involved in anything, but without anybody taking the reins and any leadership, do you think that's what has to happen before we start straightening out what's going on with this in college athletics?
It's funny, you get that letter and then you kind of combine it with some of the pushback on the full league revenue share, media share that we've seen from the Big Ten and the SEC.
Yeah.
And I get it, when you've got the milkshake in your hand, you don't want to share it with your neighbor. But at the same time, at some point it's going to get to where you've squeezed all the juice that you can out of the fruit, and you've got to have some sort of foundation to fall back on. And I'm concerned that, if we don't have some guardrails put in here, if we don't get, the media revenue share in place, if we don't start getting maybe even some collective bargaining, from the player side, that we're going to eventually get to a point where the juice is going to be all gone and we're not going to have any foundation left to fall back on. So I think there's going to need to be some level of intervention, whether that's congressional or not. I'm concerned that if it's not congressional, then you're going to have 50 individual lawsuits out there in every single state challenging whatever gets put in place.
Right.
So that's my concern with anything that doesn't go through Congress, is that the legal challenges are going to be problematic, whether it's done at the conference level, whether it's done across the conference level, or whether you get these situations where you've got individual states intervening and now you've got challenges in all those individual states. I just think that's a recipe ripe for disaster. And I think it's going to start turning off the casual fan when you start seeing all these legal battles similar to what you have when you have a labor strike in baseball. Like, you know, you get casuals go away when there's strikes. And I don't want to, and that's not just because there's a loss of games. It's also because of we're talking about money instead of the product, and casuals only care about the product.
Yeah, 100%. And I've had 5 ADs in the Big South, you know, the league I cover, tell me that every sport but football and men's basketball would at some point, don't know when, but they would all go to club level. In other words, you're going to lose all those scholarships. It's the only way to fight it back. Some of these departments are going to have no choice but to cut every scholarship out of those programs. And that's so unfair to all those kids. But that's why this has to be reined in. And I think that'd be strong enough reasoning to be able to go to Congress or someone and say, do we want that? Is that what we're doing here? We're just going to destroy all these other young people's, you know, aspirations to play their sport in college. We're just going to say, you're not going to get any help. No, none of this revenue share is going to you anyway. You're not making any revenue, so you're not important. Is that what we're going to do? Right.
And let's talk about who's going to get screwed if you go to like the more Super League model versus the full on media share. When that happens, all of a sudden the little bit of a bump that players have had at these smaller schools is probably going to go away. If you go with like a Super League, you know, whatever it is, 50, 60 teams, you know, the majority of the P4 is kind of banding together there. If you go with that model, you're going to end up completely hamstringing your G5 programs, your FC. Like, these are programs that are just starting to get a taste of, you know, being able to throw a little bit of money at their players in this process. But if you siphon off all that media money, and siphon off all the eyes that go to this league, it's going to create those downstream problems where now you're forcing some of the talent that would have went, you know, that G5 route so they could get on the field and things like that. They might end up, you know, going to P4 and sitting for a year or two just because that's where the money is.
Yeah. And it's clear, like you mentioned, it's the SEC and the Big Ten, they just play all this down and say it's nonsense because they're getting everything they want and they're the main beneficiaries. That's why they kind of broke off 3 years ago and said, yeah, we're not going to call ourselves an alliance, but we're going to dictate everything else that's happening. And Louisville's trying to get ahead of this because the big thing's happening coming up in a couple of years with the next TV deal and with the potential mega realignment one last time, we think, right? However that's going to look, who knows? But I see what Louisville's doing here. They're trying to get something out ahead of this before those next deals can be negotiated. And the haves are all included. And like you said, the have-nots won't be. So,
yeah. And let's talk about the ACC fumbling a little bit, because there was that moment in time where there was the Pac-12, Big Ten, ACC loose partnership, if we remember this, going back, I guess, at 7-8 years at this point. And then instead of leveraging that at all, you had the Big Ten kind of breaking off and just doing their own thing and siphoning off from the Pac-12. And next thing you know, we're here with realignment. We're here with these media deals. We're here with NIL. Like there's a lot of things happening at one time in this sport that it's really hard to understand what the ramifications are going to be, because all those things are happening at once. So you're kind of playing a little bit of pickleball with this thing, trying to figure out exactly where you're going to end up. Just because that's a lot of upheaval in a sport at one time.
Yeah, it really is. And I wonder what like Notre Dame think. Like they've got their own island that they live on. They've got Marianne and Ginger running all over the place. They've got banana coconut cream pie whenever they want it, right? They just got everything they need. They can get off the island anytime they want it, but they like the luxury of it. And I wonder how they fit into all this long term. When all this finally at some point I think will be regulated. they're the only independent that gets a free ride in the playoff. They're in the top 12. They're in the playoff. We're Notre Dame. We're bigger than the system. I think that's why we never hear Notre Dame complain about it. Well, they did complain about not making the playoff, so they picked up their ball and went home. But you never hear about them getting involved in any of these conversations because they know that they're probably more powerful than any of the people making the decisions.
Yeah,
sad but true.
It's interesting too because, like, you know, when we talk about the way Notre Dame used the ACC during the COVID pandemic has still left a bad taste in a lot of ACC fans' mouths all these years later.
Yep.
And that's when, you know, when it came down to the whole Miami Notre Dame debate. I mean, I don't think if you were an ACC fan, you were not on the Notre Dame bandwagon, almost regardless of how you feel about Miami, and especially Virginia Tech fans. Like, we don't feel very good about Miami, but at the same time.
Absolutely.
You know, I had Miami in over Notre Dame, and I think pretty much everyone else that follows college football and follows the ACC in particular, they felt the same way. And it was really interesting to see the, like, I don't even know. It was like a tantrum level response to what happened with the ACC and Notre Dame. They were like, because the commissioner dared say a nice word about Miami publicly,
I know.
that they were somehow throwing Notre Dame under the bus. I'm like, okay, so you got a full member, you got a partial member, and basically you got one spot for the two of them. Okay, well, they didn't throw you under the bus. They just said, I think Miami should be in.
Right.
Okay.
They won the game. That's what they were saying, right? That's what Jim
exactly.
Who
won
they
won the head-to-head. They should be in. All right.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That whole logic and reasoning thing, I tell you.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Crazy logic and reasoning. Well, you and I can't fix it. Ryan Price thinks it'll go to the Supreme Court, who would eventually take the case. I don't know what's worse, the government or the courts, because the Supreme Court or the court's going to be, you know, whoever appointed them, they're going to go in that direction, right? So I don't trust either one of them, to be honest with you.
It's hard to trust anyone in this thing because, I mean, unless you give it to the fans, which isn't going to happen, obviously.
No.
But it's like the people that actually know the football are so self-interested in the money that you can't trust them. And now you're sending it to a bunch of people that don't know the sport, or at least the majority of them don't know the sport.
That's right.
And so now they're making these decisions on something that they don't understand and may not have enough understanding of the legacy of the sport, no matter how much research they do in a short period of time, to really grasp the impact of what their decisions are going to be. And, you know, the Supreme Court is just a smaller microcosm of the problem with the congressional side of things. The only thing that they do is that they read it from, you know, the legal standpoint and the precedent standpoint. So no matter where you go at this point, there's going to be bias that doesn't have anything to do with the sport.
Correct.
I think that's a scary thing. But I think it's probably a little bit better than only following the money.
I think at this point, I'm all for that, though. I'm all for if this is being looked at by people who have no rooting interest, who aren't connected to it, and they're just looking at the business model and seeing that this maybe that's what it's going to take. Wait a minute. This doesn't look like this would work at any level, at any other business. What are we doing here with college football, the second most popular sport in this country after the NFL? So maybe that's what it takes, right? Somebody who's not getting greased, somebody who doesn't have a $1 million TV deal coming, somebody who's not going to be affected by any of this, to go, this is stupid. If you're not going to do it, here we go. We're going to do this now. And then everybody's going to have to readapt. Maybe that's what it's going to take. I don't know.
I think we'll at least get a less self-serving product from that. Whether we get a good product, I guess, remains to be seen.
That's true. So what's going on with you guys? When are you back on? You back on this week? Or you back?
We're not back on this. We're going back on next week. We're going to be talking a little recruiting. We'll have a guest on with us talking a little bit of shop on the recruiting front. Should be a good time. So we will probably not have recorded that by the time I see you next week. So we can go a little more in depth at that point.
Oh, good. We will. All right, man. Well, good stuff. Good thoughts on the plight that is college athletics right now. So
always
see.
A fun conversation, Rick.
All right, brother. You have a good week, man, and we'll talk again next week.
Yes, sir. You have a good one,
right.
too.
You too, man. There you go. Check out the Boundary Corner podcast. They're great. They have a lot of fun. They got their 4-man panel, and they cover all the things, not only tech, but the health of what's going on in college athletics. I don't have the answers. No, I have no idea. I'm just a caveman. Your world frightens and confuses me. I think the one-time transfer rule would be outstanding, Brandon. Yes. But it's easy to blame the players, but this is the system that they're being allowed to flourish in. Keep that in mind. And let's not also speak on things that we would not actively have also been a participant of if we were a 4 or 5 star, whatever the hell that even means. Let's say we were a really good college football player. And we knew at some point we would probably evolve into an NFL career, and we had the opportunity to jump around to another school. If we had the opportunity to make even more money each and every year, we all would do it. Let's don't try to sit here and blame the athletes, because this isn't on them. They're the ones that are doing all the moving, so I think the attention goes to them. But this isn't the younger people's problem. This is what many of you have pointed out. We haven't had leadership at any level of college athletics because of the fear of litigation. What Ryan Pry typed, being in court is the biggest fear of all these commissioners, whoever the hell, Charlie Baker, whomever it might be. And here we are, because so many people are afraid of the circumstances, and then they're afraid of the retribution about decisions that none get made. And everybody just stands back with their hands in the air. Well, I'm not going to do anything. At least I'm not going to court. Meanwhile, you continue to see the separation of how it is. And if you're a Tech fan, you can't assume you're going to be part of the good side of this when things go away. As a matter of fact, if you're not part of whatever the super conference is going to look like, if you're not part of the SEC or the Big Ten, Notre Dame, you can't assume that things are going to be rosy when you're done. And that's just the way it works. Mike Burnop will join us coming up at 8. But it's a good article. You should check it out. And I think they had some good suggestions in there. Will it get any traction? Likely not. Like anything else that makes sense and common sense, it gets held up because of selfish interests, whether it's politics, whether it's this, whatever it might be. Things that are clear, that are good and bad, there's a gray area that clouds it intentionally by people who can't get rid of their prejudices about what they believe and what they don't like, what they do like. And that's why we don't get anything done. Morris says, of course, we would take the money, but when a great college player knows he would be a low-round draft pick and making $1 million or more in college, they will not even leave. That's true. And that's the other side of it. That's right. How many lawsuits are we seeing from guys trying to get a 6th and 7th year? Because you're exactly right, Morris. That's what they're doing. They're wanting a bigger payday because they have no shot in the NFL. Right? What about the 2 quarterbacks, Brandon says, tried to leave after all the money? Wouldn't we consider that stepping down and going to court? Yeah, Washington won their battle with their quarterback. He came crawling back. Duke and the Mensa kid, they lost their battle. I'm sure there were other examples of that. Those were the 2, I think, that got the most traction. Seems like there was another quarterback that tried to get out that ended up going back to his old school. I don't remember who that was, but yeah. And the one thing that used to always wonder, and we used to talk about this when the show came back on radio during COVID, because it was inevitable this was going to happen. And the one thing I used to always wonder was how the team cliques were going to just survive. Like, here's a guy making whatever he's making, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. Here's a left guard making 20,000, 30,000. You heard Todd Grantham say every guy on scholarship at every school was getting paid something with the new rev share, which makes sense. But look, I've heard about it from students at RU. I mean, student body, they're not going to get behind this. They're not going to sit there and they know what some of these guys are making. Now, football's a little different, but I think there's a lot of resentment there, or how much resentment's there before each other in the locker room. Maybe not as much as I used to think. I think these guys are all just grateful to be making something that they don't even look at it from the way that I thought it was going to go 5 years ago. NCAA Rules Committee and governance are useless. Communist, fascist, and useless. Yeah, I don't know. Do you trust humans to fix anything? I mean, that's where we are, right? That's where it comes down to. I don't. You can't even win a gold medal in hockey without it becoming this political, and all it's become is this political blow. It just blows my mind how anybody who supports that is a certain category. And there are actually a large section of people in this country who wanted them to lose. It blows my mind. This is where we are. But anyway, that's why nothing gets done, is my whole point. No one can look beyond their own biases and their own hatred for whatever it might be or whatever they believe in. Nobody wants to pull together. And that's what we used to always do. We used to always pull together. When the chips were down, we were still America. We were still the United States. And it's just not that way anymore. It's just not that way anymore. And that's what's happened with college athletics, is a reflection of that. It's the have and the have-nots. It's what's my belief and what's my investment? Well, the SEC and the Big Ten have theirs, and Notre Dame. I can't keep leaving out Notre Dame because they're on their separate island. Therefore, they don't want this thing to be changed. They know that they're getting ready to go into the new collective bargaining, the new TV deal, and they know that they are the front runners. They've got all the television ratings in hand, ready to go and get as much as they can. And guess who it's going to go to, right? They don't want to hear Louisville complaining. They don't want to see this letter. They don't want to see people start to say, well, why isn't this something that we're doing? Because it only affects us the way things are set up in a positive way. Everybody else figure it out. Makes you feel like you're on one of the old Westerns. Katie, bar the door, grab the ammunition. It kind of does. It really, really does. There's too much money. Money, the root of all evil. Such a wise, wise saying. Bible got it right. And because of it, nothing gets done. And it won't. Nothing will get done. I don't think, unless it's government, whether it's the Supreme Court like Ryan Pro. I don't know. I don't know the answer of how it's going to get done. I just know that another year of it, and I think finally it's going to become very obvious that this thing's about done. I think as soon as you start seeing traditional sports faced with the reality they're going to lose all their scholarships and be reduced to club level, then maybe that is going to be the thing that finally implodes this system. Because you want to talk about lawsuits. You want to talk about a lot of lawyers making a lot of money. You wait till those athletes and those families start suing the institutions and the NCAA. Oh, my goodness gracious. We haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg for potential litigation. When all of a sudden you're told, hey, those, 10 or 12 scholarships you had for baseball, we're taking all those back. Yep. Just talked to administrators Longwood on Saturday, and they're all pretty confident that's what's going to happen. So this isn't me coming up with this. This is people that I talk to that run athletic departments. Imagine that. Just imagine that. And let's say you're a parent of a kid who has a scholarship to play one of these non-revenue sports. It's gone. How does that kid go to school? How does he play? She play? How does that happen if the scholarship is gone? Can you afford a college tuition right now, the way things are escalating, some of these schools? But no one's thinking about the individuals that long-term could be affected by it, because nobody can get beyond the green fog of dead presidents enough to see the trees are getting away of the forest, I guess, which can be also tied into another Bigfoot reference. Is the foliage just too thick? Is that why we can't see him? Is he an interdimensional being? Does all this tie back into Bigfoot? Maybe it does. Maybe it does. But it's going to get worse before it gets better. There's going to be more dark clouds before any sunshine breaks through. And I don't see anybody willing to step up with any answers. The dumbest things you hear when you see people talk about it, well, they just need to appoint a commissioner. Who's they? The NCAA? What power do they wield right now? Yeah, they should just appoint Nick Saban. Yeah, that'll take care of it. No, it won't. How's he going to have any power? How's anyone who's going to be assigned to be the commissioner going to be able to come in and say, all right, this is all changing right now? Why? Because you say so. Who hired you? Oh, you mean the people that have completely ignored every aspect of this? We don't care. Imagine the litigation that would come if you tried to appoint a commissioner. Are you going to commission just the power leagues? What about the non-power leagues? What about the FCS? What about all that? It's the stupidest thing I keep hearing. Oh, they just need to appoint a commissioner. Who's they? And what kind of authority would that commissioner have? Seriously. I mean, answer the question. If I'm missing something, let me know. Do you really think if they appoint Nick Saban, who sits there and talks out of both sides of his mouth on the ESPN set, when he was down at Alabama while the mafia paid players hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars while he was there? I don't care, Alabama fan. Get over it. That's what happened. It's always happened there. And now he's getting up and acting like he's got solutions. He may be a great coach, but he doesn't need to sit there and start talking about why things are broken when he was part of the problem while he was down at Alabama. Just don't put that guy on a pedestal of ethics. There's nobody to assign it. There's no one to regulate it. There's nobody to enforce it. That's what I'm saying. That's why if that were the case, you would see. Have you heard one word from the NCAA about academics? Have you heard one word about these quarterbacks that are jumping in after they have deals? Have we heard anyone say anything at all? We've just seen the individual schools have to deal with it. They've abandoned all of their partners because they don't want to have to face the ramifications of making a decision. And you tell me that saying, hey, this guy or this woman's going to be the commissioner, do you think that's going to make everybody go, okay, well, this thing's going to change around right now? No, it's not. It's not. It's dumb. If there was authority and there was an accepted governing body, then yeah. You have commissioners in all the pro sports because the owners hire the commissioner. Every owner is the boss of the commissioner. So they vote on one person. So come on. That's not feasible, and it makes zero sense. The whole appointing a commissioner. I mean, Charlie Baker's the NCAA president, and he has zero power. When he made his idiotic comments about the NCAA basketball tournament last week, did he say that this was going to happen as someone who's got power? Did he say, yes? Now, what did he say? I would really like to see the tournament expand. I think that would be wonderful. The more teams, the better. Because he knows he has zero authority to enforce that. And it's going to come down to the commissioners and the leagues and the television partners that say, well, you're going to make more money here if you add X amount of teams. Again, it's money that is the commissioner of all this. Money is ruling it. Not one physical person is going to be able to come in there and change any of this. It's dumb to even consider it. Somebody tell me who it's going to be. Who's going to appoint it? And how all of a sudden is that position going to have authority over everything? Don't you think the lawsuits that are going to come from that? Think about that for a second. If somebody cuts into the SEC, the Big Ten, or Notre Dame's cut that they're keeping all for themselves now, you think they're just going to sit there and say, okay, well, he told us we couldn't do it anymore. All right, guess we'll stop. The answer is no. No. And to think that Nick Saban could be that guy is one of the stupidest arguments, and people just, I don't understand. Is he the greatest college football coach ever? You can make that argument. Absolutely. Was he a defensive genius? You better believe it. Does he belong as somebody who's making decisions about college athletics? Hell to the no. Why? Why would he be? I don't know who that person could ever be at this point. But I thought the letter was a plea for saying, we know this is the common sense way of doing this. We're going to get it out there and let people see. And maybe if they read the words, they understand that this isn't just the Louisville side of things. This is how the whole thing needs to be looked at by somebody who could actually change it. I read the whole thing, and to me, I read it to you. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Now, will it go any further than the one day that it got reported on yesterday? Probably not. You probably won't see it on X today. You won't see anybody talking about it. But at least they tried. At least they made it look like, to me, because they're in a league. They're not asking for all this extra money. They're just saying, look, we need to get everybody doing the same thing, right? Common sense, a common sense proposal that would be good for Virginia Tech, for anybody in the ACC, Michigan, in the Big Ten, Oklahoma State, whoever it might be. But no one's going to act on it. And there's probably people like me, people who are in higher positions in athletic departments that look at that and go, yeah, that's exactly what we need, but it's not going to happen. And therefore, nothing gets done. And therefore, we sit here and we see all this movement, and we see all these books being opened by these schools and how the reserves are being gone through, and it's going to run out. We do everything we can at our level at Radford, being a mid-major in our league, and I know we have good people in our league, that we see all this, and we know how we're trying to survive in it, and it's much different for us. But it seems like solutions come from people who look at it from our level, like, or at least good ideas about solutions, because we're not getting part of that mega fund. The NCAA doesn't want any part of schools like ours because we're not moneymakers for them. It should be me. I wouldn't want that job. Once we hit the 1 million subscriber threshold. Jimbo Fisher would do it for free. I don't need the money, Brandon. I don't need the money. No, you don't have to pay me a damn dollar. Let me come in there and run that thing. What do you make, 16 million last year? Is that what I saw? Remember, because he put his he dipped his toe back in the coaching vacancies. He said, "You don't have to pay me. You can pay me minimum. I'm making enough money. I just want to coach." Nobody would hire him. You know what the downfall of Jimbo is? He got caught up in all this. Remember when this was 21, 22? I'm going to go 22. It was the top 2 defensive players in the country on, and this is before the portal had hit. So, yeah, 22, I guess. And I don't know their names, but there were 2 5-star defensive players who had not committed like they were supposed to, and they were getting deal offers. This is when pay for play was really starting to kick in. Thank you, Morris. My only talent is I do a really good Jimbo Fisher impersonation. And remember when he said, "We don't do that here at Texas A&M. We don't need money to buy players. We recruit on our integrity as Aggies," or something of that nature. Come to find out, both of those kids, like late in the afternoon before the deadline, both popped for Texas A&M. And then we found out that they got paid like a combined $6 million. At the time, that was, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So you said one thing, but you were just kind of talking out of your ass. Okay. Yeah. And then you went out and had a sub 500 season. Yeah. I don't recall that at all, Rick. I don't know what you're talking about. We never paid anybody. Okay. But in any event, Jimbo, you're not going to be a head coach. Sorry. It's not going to happen. Any coach who benefited from the system can't be a serious contender for anyone who has any ideas to try to fix things. And Nick Saban was the beneficiary of a lot of, at the time, things that were not allowed. And if anybody is still too naive or just flat out dumb to understand what goes on at a place like Alabama and what's been going on for years at Alabama, well, I don't know what to tell you. I want to say, and I think he just passed away, the great, remember Gene Stallings? Good man, good football coach. Was head coach at Alabama in the NFL. I think he may have been the one. Somebody like that was the one. Ray Perkins, somebody that was the first folks who used the term the Alabama Mafia. You have no idea until you go to Tuscaloosa and talk to people what goes on there regarding the football program or what had gone on there. You remember the part in Blue Chips? God, we always reference Blue Chips. What a brilliant film. I'm going to have to watch it again. Remember the whole friends of the program? Remember all that? Well, that's been going on at Alabama since Bear Bryant was the head coach. Friends of the program. And then he gets up there and acts like that he did everything by the book and he has all these answers. No, you don't. You don't. You just don't. So we'll see what happens. But it was a good letter, and I'm glad they wrote it, and it's out there now. And Louisville can never say that they didn't do their part to say, we had some good ideas, and you guys just shot it down. And maybe what is finally put in at some point down the road, maybe that will be an outline for some of the ideas that are used. I don't know. But we all care about it. We all know how important it is to this community. What Frank Beamer did with Virginia Tech turned this place upside down in all the right ways. And that's why it's important in all these communities like ours here in the New River Valley. That's why when people say, well, the government's got bigger things to do. Well, this hits people in a lot of communities where they live. And that's what the government's supposed to be there to do, right? To help its people, to govern the citizens. And college football is a really big deal. It's a beyond business, right? That's why we're seeing all these people get rich. That's why we're seeing all these athletes get rich. And there's nobody taking any responsibility for it. So what's left? And Ryan Pry's right. It's going to be the government of the courts. Pick your poison. So we'll see. We'll see. Mike Burnop's going to join us coming up. We're going to talk about Tech and BC. Go back to the Carolina game. Kind of still feels like a missed opportunity for Tech. I thought they played well against Carolina. We've talked about it yesterday. They didn't play badly at all. Carolina played a good game. Hubert Davis gets a lot of criticism, but he has really done a good job with that team. In spite of an injury that I kind of thought was going to put them in the tank for the rest of the year. Because you lose a guy like that, he was a sure lottery pick. He may be the top pick. He's going to be one of the top three. And here they are now on a 3-game winning streak. They should win tonight. I mean, he's done a nice job, keeping the rudder on the ship going there. He's done a good job. But they played a good game. Tech played a good game. They just didn't quite have enough because Carolina played well. So, and I think they'll be okay tonight. And then, the whole thing comes back up with the UVA game this weekend. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out here. All right, I see that Mike Burnop's ready to go down here in the green room. What's up, Mike? Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Rick. How about yourself?
We're hanging in there, brother. Hanging in there. And we want to thank Louise Baker, Team Long and Foster. It's been a difficult time down at Raver. I appreciated you reaching out. I appreciate you reaching out last week, man.
How in the world did you get through that baseball game, that first game?
It was extraordinarily emotional. It was I got to see Joe Rakuya before the game, and it was just and the way we won it, and then that whole emotional thing, and then Sunday was the game they put him in the lineup and did the pitch count, let the clock run out, and then Bryant declined the ball, and they put the player in. They announced it. I tell you what, it was standing ovation all around. It was tough, and then last night was the service, so maybe some closure can start to happen now after the service last night.
That's just so sad and so tragic. You got to one's got your whole life in front of you. I mean, it's just awful. Just never fathom that happening to one of your kids.
No,
So hard. I feel for him, Joe, and then, the whole family. That's awful.
In your 43, I mean, your 43 years calling games, and then when you played, did you go through anything like that as a student athlete, or since you've been at Tech? I can't remember. I know the horrible, the shootings that didn't have anything to do with athletics, but have you gone through losing a player like that?
I lost my roommate, Rick, and when we were seniors in college.
Did you really?
We were, we'd finished our senior year playing. It was the next spring, and it was John Schneider was my roommate from East Meadow, New York. He was an offensive lineman, and he was just coming home on 460 one night. I was going to go out with him, and I didn't. I was with my girlfriend, and he went out. And on his way home, somebody just crossed the double line on 460 out there by their corporate research park, and hit him head on, killed him.
Wow.
And that, you talk about awful now. That was bad. His family, we stayed in touch for years and years, and both of his parents have passed since. And, they had the John William Snyder Award for him after spring practice and all that. But, yeah, it's hard. It's difficult to say the least.
It is, because it's a true family community within athletic departments, and you lose one of your own, man. It's you got to circle the wagons as best you can, and we did that. And kudos to Alex Square and the baseball program and all of our administration. I think we did that's about as tough a situation as you can have like that, and I think they handled it very, very well. So
yeah, I was feeling for you. I knew that would be tough going through that one, man. Oh man,
it was. It was tough to turn Friday's broadcast just into a baseball broadcast after that. But you kind of got into it, and that's what the guys wanted, the players wanted. So that was the motivation, just to kind of make it as normal as you can. You can't, but
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, I want to go back to Tech hoops, Mike. I got home in time from our game at Longwood, and I watched the game. Tech played well. I mean, it's not like Tech. I thought they played really well. Carolina played a little bit better on Saturday night.
It was a tie game in the first half, 44 all. I mean, you put 44 points up on that team. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Shot the ball well. But the second half just kind of got away from them a little bit, lose by 7. But gosh, the discrepancy in free throws was pretty obvious. I mean, the Hokies shot 5 free throws in the second half, and Carolina shot 20. 15 of 20 they made.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. So, and Amani Hansberry only gets to play 19 minutes because he's in foul trouble and fouls out 6 minutes in the first half. So you can't, you don't have him on the floor. It makes a huge difference. And, Vassar came out in the second half and had a monster second half. I think he had 18 of his points in the second half, and Trimble had a big second half. I mean, they're really good. They're especially good at home. They're undefeated at home. They were 16-0 at home. So pretty good team at home. When they get Caleb Wilson back, they could be really, really good, which makes that Duke game kind of interesting. It's kind of, you think about Tyler Johnson. Tyler got back into the lineup and only played a couple minutes. Mike Young said, I didn't think he looked like, he was ready to get revved up. And, when you miss the whole ACC season, Rick, from December 20th, and it's a foot injury where you can't ride the bike or do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, can't jump, can't ride the bike. It's different than like Caleb Wilson. He could still ride the bike and keep his cardio up a little bit. But with Tyler, it's going to take him a little bit of time to get back. And hopefully the Hokies can extend the season here long enough to try to get him revved back up where he can contribute. But again, that's a big loss. I mean, missing him since December 20th and only playing a couple of minutes at Carolina. That makes it difficult, to say the least.
It does. Mike Burnop joining us on the program. Thanks again to Louise Baker, the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster Realtors. How did he look, and how did he get through it, did you think? After you were right there courtside, how do you think he got through his first action back?
He got through okay because we were at the Special Olympics on Sunday for the opening ceremonies, and we do that every year. Coach Young was there. I asked him, I said, did he have any side effects? And he said, no, he was good to go. So they're going to get him back out there and try to get him a few more minutes tonight against Boston College and, try to get him no side effects, just keep him revved up a little bit more for each game and get ready for UVA and then the tournament next week. So we'll see how he does. Hopefully he'll feel more and more comfortable on that foot and where he can contribute. You know, the Hokies got out rebounded by 12 against Carolina, and Tyler's a big part of that. And you know, it's just one of those things you hate to miss him for so long. And not that Carolina, you know, they've had their injury problems either. You know, Seth Trimble missed 9 games early in the year, and now you got Caleb Wilson out. I think 14 of the 28 games they had everybody playing. So it's just, you know, everybody goes through this same thing at some point. You just hope that Tyler can get back in time to be a contributor.
But boy, it feels like it's been magnified this year at Tech. I mean, regardless of what happens, I'm going to chalk this up as a season that never really got to take place, because this roster and the guys available is not at all how they drew it up coming out of a camp. They were ready to go. They felt really great, but they've just not been able to have those guys on the floor. Sorry, it's just fact.
I know. Yeah, that's the way it is. Yeah, I told Coach, I said, you're going to look back on this thing and you're going to say, what if?
What if?
What if? What if you had Toby for all those games he missed from Thanksgiving till after Christmas or after the New Year? And same way, you know, I mean, you look at Tyler, that's the first game he's played in the ACC all year, and he plays like 2-3 minutes. So, yeah, it makes a big difference when you take somebody out that averages 10 points, 5-6 rebounds. You know, he's going to get you over the hump in a lot of those games. Just his toughness is he's a good on-ball defender, and taking him out makes a big difference.
And I think for me, Mike, and I might be wrong, but that people overlooking that with some of Nito's struggles at the time. Maybe the fact he's having to play so many more minutes. Maybe the fact that he came over and all of a sudden those guys that he was playing with earlier are gone. I mean, it's tough for a guy playing in America for the first time. I'm not going to make excuses, but I think it's all tied in this season to the guys they just didn't have available. I really
do. That's true. And we had Neo on the radio show last Thursday night. He was great. You know, he said it's been difficult, obviously, playing the American game. It's faster, it's more physical. You know, he had a pretty good game. He had 19 points in the game. He might have taken a couple shots a little too early in the second half in the shot clock, but, you know, he put together a couple good games in a row here now. He had 17, then 19. You know, he made a couple big threes. And then obviously Ben Hammond had a big game. Toby had some monster dunks. I mean, he was kind of on his game because he can flat out sky through there now. So that was kind of fun to watch. And I think the crowd enjoyed Toby's dunks too. They kind of oohed and awed when he went up and got way above the rim. So Hokies did a lot of good things in that game. You know, they only turned it over 10 times and shot the ball pretty well, 50%. But, you know, you got to defend, Rick. You can't. I mean, Carolina shot 61% in the second half, and that's going to get you beat most games. Got to play better defense.
Got to play better defense.
And you got to rebound. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let's talk about the last week here. BC tonight. Again, you'd think they will be okay if they play their game. BC, though, I don't think BC's nearly as bad as their record indicates. I've watched them a couple times. They've got some skill on that basketball team. They've got some.
Yeah, they're not bad. I mean, they lost a bunch of games in a row. I think 7 or 8 in a row before they beat Wake Forest by 1 point. And then, you know, they lost again the other day to Miami. They've only won 3 in the league. And the teams that they beat were the teams that are not that good, right? Wake's decent, but I think it was Pitt and Syracuse. So, you know, they're a much better team at home than they are on the road. Well, they haven't run a road game, I think, this year in the league. So, you know, the Hokies can't let down tonight and get beat. I mean, they lost to them up there in Boston last year. That place has been a house of horrors for Virginia Tech. I mean, there's never any crowd there. You got to bring your own emotions and your own energy. And I think they scored 36, 38 points up there last year. That was tough. So, yeah, I think they'll be okay tonight. And then it all sets up for the showdown up at Charlottesville on Saturday because, man, Duke manhandled UVA. That was kind of a shocker.
It really was to that degree. And then what Duke did last night, I tell you, since that Michigan game seems to have done something to them. They are really playing at a different level right now, aren't they?
They are really, really good. And I wouldn't be surprised they won it all. I mean, I don't think
either.
You know, John Shire gets enough credit. And you think about the losses that they had. You know, Carolina pulled that thing out of their hat, right, to win at the buzzer. And then they lost to Texas Tech by 1 early in the year. And I think they're flying under the radar a little bit, even though now they're number 1. But that team's good. I mean, they're talented. They play great defense. They don't get enough credit for that.
No.
And I think they're the second tallest team in the country. So they got length. They got speed. They got guys that can shoot. And you got Boozer, man. You talk about a difference maker. That guy, he's a handful.
Yeah, he is a handful, and I agree with you. It's like since the Michigan game and when Shire got so criticized for his comments after the Carolina game, they've just kind of rallied together, and now you don't want any part of the Dukies right now. I tell you,
Yeah.
They've been impressive. I want to thank Louise Baker, Team Long and Foster, 540-320382. Hey, we honored her the last home game. She got recognized and got a nice ovation.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I could have been there for that. That's great. I hope to see her tonight. This is a caffeine special tonight, Rick, 9:00. I hope Louise will be there. It's the last home game.
You love it. At least you're not traveling. So
that's true. We got home at 3:30 in the morning the other day, Sunday morning. We got home at 3:30, and I had to be back over there at Special Olympics at 12:30. So that was fun. But it's always fun doing that event. Those kids are so cool, and they're out there just trying so hard and playing so well. It's so much fun to watch and so inspiring. I mean, the whole basketball team was back there and just watching them and high-fiving them, and had Montavious Cunningham. He was out there. You talk about a house now. That dude, 6'3", 6'4", about 315. He was fist bumping some of those kids. And Elijah Fall, he was out there. He's another one that's 6'3", about 300. They're looking good. Said everything's going well in winter workouts, and they're excited. But that was a fun event, and I'm sure I'll see Louise. She's not going to miss this game tonight. 9:00, she can handle it.
She'll be there.
She'll be there.
Yeah, there are a few organizations more important than the Special Olympics. I couldn't agree.
Yeah,
it's awesome. It's awesome. We've seen that a lot of our basketball stops. They'll have been having Special Olympics Day, and those kids that get out there and play like at halftime. It's crazy. It's great. It's awesome.
I know. And Chris Martin from FedEx, he helped sponsor that thing for I think 15, 16 years in a row. And that was the 38th one they've had at Castle Coliseum.
Wow.
38 years. Yeah, how about that?
That's cool.
Awesome. And the torch lighting, when they're carrying the torch.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And they get escorted by somebody from the police department or Montgomery County Sheriffs or Blacksburg Police. Yeah, that was really touching.
It's awesome.
Every year.
That's awesome. And it's so great you've been a part of it. How long have you been a part of it personally now? Have you done it every year since they brought it to campus?
Pretty much every year. Yeah, I think I missed 1 year because we were in Miami for basketball. And I think we left early and wasn't there on Sunday because we played them on a Monday or something, and we left early. I think I missed one. And then they canceled one year for snow. But yeah, I've been there pretty much every year for the opening ceremonies. A lot of fun.
Mike, did you get a chance to follow the story? I read the letter here a little while ago, the Louisville letter about just saying, look, we're not woe is meing this, but we need some common sense to start prevailing pretty soon, because they feel like at the end of this coming year, it's probably going to end up happening where there's not going to be any choice any longer. And are we to the point where no common sense is going to take hold because of too many selfish interests between the haves and the have-nots with who's getting what and so forth?
Well, I mean, I hope something happens sooner than later, Rick, because you look at some of these situations, it's just so out of whack. The no guardrails, and the rich are getting richer. And, you look at a team like Boston College. I mean, the tuition there is so expensive.
Yeah.
And I just don't think they have the money to compete. And, you feel bad for Earl Grant because, he's a good coach.
He is.
But man, oh man, when your hands are strapped and tied, just like Mike Young was last year, it makes it so difficult. And even when you have more money, you're still, I think Virginia Tech's still in the lower part of the ACC in terms of what they have available. So
Sure.
I mean, it's got to get fixed sometime here soon. I mean, it's just totally out of whack, and you hate to see it. It's not good for the sport for sure. And, the athletes are capitalizing, but I'm not sure in the long run it's good for that either.
And they brought up government intervention. I don't know where else you go at this point. I mean, nobody likes that idea. Do you want it hung up in the Supreme Court? I don't know who's going to be able to make change if somebody doesn't come in and just say, guys, this has to stop. And nobody's willing to do that right now in college athletics.
Yeah, it's sad that it got to that point. And you could kind of see it coming when everything was getting out of whack and just crazy like it is. But, so I had dinner with Coach Beamer last week, and I said, can you believe what's happened to the sport? And he says, no. He said, I'm so glad I'm out of it. And he said, I don't know how Shane does it. And, it's just like, it's just such a different game. Kids transferring every year because the grass is greener. I mean, it's just not a good system, and you hate what it's done to the sport.
Yeah, I just don't know how you take it back now. Like they've given all this, and it's not the athlete's fault. You
Yeah,
know, you and I would take advantage of it too if the system were in
sure.
place, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and think about the what's happening. You probably can't change anything for the national championship game in the next 2 years at the end of January.
I
Well, I mean,
know.
the Super Bowl is like a week or two later. I mean, kids are in college. I mean, they're back in school. They can't transfer. I mean, the whole system, the calendar needs to be moved up. And they need to play more in the week zero games or
Yeah,
start last week of August or before that and get this thing over with. Have a championship game no later than like January 10th before kids go back to the winter semester or something. I mean, I think it's an easy fix, but somebody needs to take charge and get this thing right. Get the calendar back moved up. You can't have that stuff happening,
no,
taking 25 days off before you play a playoff game. I mean, that's the only league in the world that does that, right? I
right.
mean, the Division Two does it, the NBA, the NFL. I mean, they don't get that time off.
No,
I
no,
mean,
it's
it's just
dumb.
nuts. It's out
It
of
doesn't.
control.
And I think you said this years ago about the bowls. I'm all for this whole moving into the front of the season now. Figure out who plays in it. I don't care, but you could make more money if it's about revenue. Because now we've already seen 4 bowls fold already since the end of 2025, and there's going to be more that's going to fold. Those games mean nothing. Make them mean something, like you're saying. That way you can tighten up the calendar, get right into it, kill the championship games, whatever it takes. But yeah, this time off, it just makes no sense. No
Oh
sense.
no. And just think of that game like playing against South Carolina in Atlanta. Make that some kind of a bowl game. I mean, fans
Exactly.
are so excited for the college football season to begin. Why not make it a spectacle and have it come down there and have a big thing, a big bowl game to start the year off instead of playing whoever you're going to play. Like I think fans would rather see that this year than playing VMI, right? I
Oh,
mean,
there's no
so
doubt. No doubt.
and it's just one of those things that could be a fix too that could be put in place pretty easily. And so and get those things over with, start the playoffs in December. People are still going to watch them.
I
They're going to
know.
love it. And you'll have more games early instead of trying to compete with the NFL and
I know.
college basketball. I mean, get the season over with.
And don't you think eventually in the long term that would be more attractive to sponsors? They're worried about that anyway with
Sure.
monies, right? Wouldn't that be
Absolutely.
for the bowls and for the TV deals?
Yeah,
Because they're going to come up
absolutely.
again.
Totally agree. Yep.
We got all this figured out, Mike. We're the co-commissioners.
You're the czar, Rick Watson. Ricardo Watson.
Yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. So late night tonight, Tech Hoops, 9:00. Gotta love it. At least it's on the U, right? It's on ESPNU, I think.
Yeah, on the U.
But we'll
Yep.
be
And we
watching.
got Saturday will be at noon against UVA up in Charlottesville. And then we'll see what happens at the ACC tournament coming up next week and go from there. Should be interesting. And spring practice starts, I think, March 17th.
Okay.
So that's right around the corner. They'll be on break next week, I believe it is. And tonight's going to be some media availability for some of the assistant coaches. Yeah. So that'll be kind of fun. Yeah.
Well, that'll be good. That'll be good. And then things will get tightened up as you get close to practice. It's going to be a big spring, and I can't wait to see how things develop. It looks good coming in, the kind of talent that's coming in and with the coaches, but you got to see this. It's such a crucial time. It's always a crucial time, but boy, when you have a new coaching staff and so many new players, man, it just enforces that, doesn't it? Even more.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody can be an All-American in shorts, right?
Yeah.
When you put those pads on, that's the great separator. When you see what you do in scrimmages, live contact, one-on-one drills, that's where you kind of make hay when the sun shines, so to speak. So it'll be fun to watch. They're going to practice in the mornings. I think the schedule is going to be a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday type thing. And so look forward to getting out there when that happens here. Something coming up soon.
Yeah. What was it? I think you may have said this years ago. Pads don't lie, Rick. The pads do not lie.
Yeah.
That tells you everything you need to know.
Neither does the eye in the sky.
The eye in the sky. That's exactly right.
They tape everything over there, man. They watch all of it. How you go move from drill to drill. There won't be any walking going around.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, we appreciate you as always, and thanks to the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster. Few greater Hokies out there than Louise, right?
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing her tonight, and maybe she'll get a milkshake for that late night special and Last chance to get a milkshake at the castle.
Yeah.
Get a fix. But yeah, she's a great Hokie, lover, and I appreciate all she does.
And if you watch the game tonight, turn down the volume and listen to Zach and Mike. Trust me, you don't want to listen to those guys. You want to listen to Zach and Mike. TV guys, no. Listen to the guys who know the program. That's what I always say. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, have a great late night, and we'll talk to you next week. And good luck this weekend in Charlottesville. We start our tournament this weekend. We're one of the early tournaments, so we start ours this weekend, Friday night.
You start Friday night, y'all play. That's right. I saw that. Yes. And where is the tournament?
We're late night, baby. Johnson City. Johnson City. Last year they hosted it for the first time, and it's more of a central point for our league.
Yeah.
It makes sense. They did a great job, so we'll be there again this year. So.
Oh, that's great. And the women are down at Duluth, Georgia this year. So that's the ACC women's tournament is there. So, yeah, out of Greensboro for a change. So that's going to be exciting as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
Megan Duffy had a great year. They played well.
Yeah, and they're playing well now at the best time, too. So we'll see.
Got that big win over UVA the other day, 1 point late with Carly Winslow's free throws. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was. All right, brother. Have a good call tonight, and stay safe this weekend.
Sounds good, Rick. Good luck to the Highlanders.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man. Take care.
All right. Take care.
All right. Mike Burnop. There you go. Good stuff. Yeah. Tonight, Boston College feels like they'll be okay tonight. Just come out and play well, right? But and then UVA and who knows what it might take to get them back on the bubble, off the bubble. I get so sick of seeing all the different Joe Lunardi stuff and just let the season play out and then we'll see. I mean it. I just think Tech is they've been hampered. They haven't had their season. I know people said, "Oh, you're just making excuses because of Mike Young," and no, I'm not. It's just true. They haven't been healthy all year, and they're starting to get back. And maybe Tyler Johnson can get enough games in, and he'll be okay down the stretch. We'll see. We'll see. Morris says, "I told you, Rick, you the commission. Let's get her done." Wouldn't want it. Wouldn't want it. No one would listen to me anyway. We will be, by the way, on Friday because we're not leaving till a little bit later in the morning. We don't play until 9 at night, so I don't need to. I wasn't sure about Friday's show, but we'll be okay. We'll be okay for Friday. But good luck staying up tonight, too. That's late, man, to start a game on a weeknight. That's late. Students can be full throat, though, right? They don't mind it as much. But it's tough when you got to work the next day, isn't it? It's just really, really tough. Really, really tough. Very, very tough. But it is, as they say, what it is. And everybody's getting geared up for spring ball across the country. We're getting there. We're getting very, very close. Urge everyone again to please subscribe, like, and share our channel so we can get up to 1,000 subs. I want to thank all of our sponsors. Our brand new sponsor here on the show, Sundown Electric. They have a great reputation, great customer. You talk to any customer review about this place, man. Sundown Electric, they got it done. They always communicate price and what they're doing. They're honest, and they've kept up the everything that their dad created. And it's the same thing with Professional Door Incorporated and our guy Travis Williams, 38 years. As a matter of fact, they've been in business, commercial, residential garage doors. Sponsor of our text line. They're the best. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply over in Christiansburg, 300 North Franklin Street. Thanks to James. The NRV Super Bowl. It's such a fun place. This is where we're going to do our BDST meetup. Coach Elmo will be there. 382-5525. Be great to get Mike out there too. Maybe we can figure that out later on once we get our seasons over with. Thanks to Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel for our T-shirts. If you want a T-shirt, hit me up, $20. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST. I'm doing some things now with them, and they've been so helpful, and they're so great. Attorney Ryan Pry, sponsor of our BDST Fan Question of the Week. He specializes in trust and estate planning, and we got it from Brandon earlier. The floor, what do you deem as Tech's absolute win total they have to have for James Franklin's first year to be a success? If you haven't called Charles Lee and Little River Heating and Air, I don't know what you're waiting on, 540-553-2971. You segue out of the colder weather here soon to a warmer weather. Make sure your air conditioning units are what they need to be. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment they're our presenting sponsor of the program. We thank Jonathan Sweet and Tim. And by the way, Stacey Compton will be on Monday. Talk about all the things with the HRA. Looking very, very forward to that. Family Fencing is the sponsor of our studios, 540-200-8294. Thanks to Jason Green. It's that time of year, folks, and you know now the grass is going to start getting green here very soon, like next week when we're in the 70s. You want to get things however you want it fenced in, whatever you need. They do great work. There's nothing they can't do, no matter what kind of fencing you're looking for. They do it all. So give them a call. And Mark Hunley at McClellan Chiropractic. Once basketball's over, we're going to have the video where I'm going through all the machines. So we're looking forward to that. Morris keeps saying ACC championship and playoff spot. Nothing less. I'm firm on that. I believe you, Morris. That's why you've been so successful at Dolphin Direct. Morris is the man. That's a great logo, by the way. Look at the Dolphin Direct Insurance logo. Look at that. He's a dolphin. The only thing would have been better is have Morris riding, like holding the dolphin's fin with like a beverage in your offhand. Sunglasses. Now we're talking. Good stuff. Good stuff. We'll see you tomorrow in the Hump Day edition. By the way, if you're around the New River Valley, we have softball today where it's not the official unveiling of the station, of the new stadium or our new turf and our new walls and our new video board, but it's our first game in our softball stadium today against UVA, who's won 19 in a row. Might the streak come to an end? Better watch out. Highlanders have been playing well. 2:00. Check us out on ESPN Plus if you can't make it. Radford and UVA softball today from the ballpark here in Radford. See? There you go. Exactly. You can have on like a, Hawaiian shirt, a beach shirt, a couple buttons undone, your drink, sunglasses, you got your cap on, just riding the dolphin. And the dolphin's got this big smile on his face. I'm just here to help. Morris. But come out and see us today, 2:00. We'll be on the air at 2:00 if you can't make it out. UVA, the Cavs, 19 in a row. I think Tech's ranked 11 in the latest softball poll. Virginia's 15. We'll see if the Highlanders can get a big in-state win. Why not? Let's go. I'm looking forward to seeing it come together. New field is great. The video board, all of it's awesome. All of it's awesome. Thank you, everybody, again, for helping out this morning. You always get me through it. And an eye patch. Correct. Yeah, you got to have the eye patch. I'm sorry. I left out the eye patch. Brandon, I'll see you this afternoon. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow on the Hump Day edition.